Hey guys, it's Flying Scorpion, and last night I grinded through a lot of the steel path. I haven't completed all of the nodes on all of the planets, as you can see here. I just sort of, where did I come in here? I came in through this direction. I basically just came in and quickly cut a line through the whole star chart. I did all the nodes on the first four planets, but then I just pushed straight through. I got to the void, I did Mott, and I decided I'm going to go to the forums and see what people have been saying. And they've inspired me to write my own response to that, and I'm going to share with you my response here. There's two main things that I'm talking about in this meat and potatoes of the post here, and that's meta versus off meta and intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. So you see some people complaining that they can't use X, Y, and Z in the steel path, and I'm going to simplify that with meta versus off meta. One of the cool things about Warframe is that you can put together a really weird off meta build and still get through almost all of the content. The steel path severely limits your options. To some people, this is a bad thing. To me, it's a fair trade-off. I've used the analogy of a race car before. Playing Warframe and assembling super powerful endgame builds, for example this Oberon build I put together, is like assembling a super fast race car, but then you have nowhere to drive it, and it just sits in your garage collecting dust. You can take it out for a drive on like regular neighborhood roads, but it's very disappointing to never get the chance to put the pedal to the metal and see just how fast the car can actually go. Some of my favorite Warframe builds are absolute overkill for 99% of the game, and that's boring and unfun. I want a place to utilize my Uber builds, and I don't want to have to spend an hour in a survival mission to begin to feel the enemies tickle me. I want a place where the time I spent grinding and theory crafting can shine. I want to be able to show off my power in an environment where it's noticeable, and the Steel Path delivers this. So I'm thankful that the devs have added the Steel Path, and I hope they do more like this in the future. If you're still watching, what do you think on what I just said there? Do you have any thoughts on that? Here's the next one. Intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. This is the thing that kind of pisses me off when I go and look at the forum posts on here. I'm actually pretty pissed off when I read some of the things that people are saying, and it'll be very clear when I read this out to you. It's the journey, not the destination. Some of you guys are acting like a spoiled child complaining that they can't have the chocolate bar at the checkout at the grocery store. If you climb a mountain and there's a rare flower that grows at the top and you simply admire its beauty and then go back down, imagine how you would feel when the next day someone comes down from the mountain and says, I forced myself to climb all the way up that stupid mountain and all I got was this lousy flower. This flower isn't worth the climb. They need to put an escalator on that thing. They missed the point. It's not about the flower, it's about the experience. I think the steel essence drop rate is fine. The rewards for the steel path are mostly cosmetic. You don't have to have them. They aren't game changing from a mechanical standpoint. They are expensive on purpose. They are supposed to be rare. If you don't think they're worth the time to get, then the answer is simple. Don't grind for them. Leave them for other players to enjoy. If DE lowers the bar by either reducing the prices or by increasing steel essence drop rate, then the items would lose their value because even more people would be able to easily get them. This is the same thing that happened during the first season of Nightwave. The original Nightwave challenges were harder and took more time, but whiny crybabies flooded the forums with complaints, and DE, as they often do, caved in under the pressure and nerfed the difficulty, which in turn made the rewards less prestigious and less valuable. This is the same thing that happened when Kuvu liches were added to the game. Whiny crybabies complained on the forums about the lich breaking the Warframe's back, and heaven forbid they needed to use a revive. DE caved in and removed that mechanic. Meanwhile, a silent portion of the player base had no issue with it, and I can only speak for myself. I actually liked the challenge. I liked 1 hour Kuva survival mission without activating life support. I liked that DE was going in the direction of making enemies that could actually threaten the Warframe. But every time they do that, they get this backlash from the whiny crybabies, and every time they cave in and give the temper tantrum forum posters the chocolate bar, they strengthen the temper tantrum and disappoint players like me. I hope they hold the Steel Path reward prices where they are, because I want the Steel Path cosmetic items to carry at least some level of meaning and prestigious value to them. Suggestions. Better matchmaking. This is pretty straightforward. The player base is getting divided more and more and more. We've got, Railjack. If I go to here, I'll see my Railjack up on the top right, I think. Ooh, where is the Railjack symbol? I lost it. Well, that's weird. Anyway, you've got Railjack, you've got sorties, you've got all these different game modes, and now you got the Steel Path layer added on top of that. The player base is getting divided more and more, and it's hard to find people to play with. So I think they need to put some sort of matchmaking system in the game where you can, look for players that are playing any Void Fisher or any Steel Path mission, or they're playing any Railjack mission on any planet on any node, for example. I think that would be a good thing for the game. The next suggestion, a reason to use corrosive plus whatever status effect over viral and heat. The enemies in the Steel Path have bonus armor, so you would think that maybe corrosive's 80% armor strip would get a chance to shine, right? Nope. I went and I tested this in the game. Viral and heat procs are still beating corrosive or whatever procs. Viral and heat has faster time to kill over corrosive and anything else, basically. This is testament to how overpowered viral and heat is. Please do another balance pass on status effects, and or please correct me if I'm wrong. It would be nice to know why Digital Extremes hasn't touched viral and heat since the last balance pass on status effects several months ago. If you guys are busy with other things, that's understandable, but can you please at least acknowledge this? I bring this up because I care about build diversity and game balance. And the last suggestion I have is, would enemy HP that scales up based on the number of players in the mission be a good thing? What I notice in the Steel Path is that the more players there are in the mission, the faster we chew through the enemies, and the closer the squad comes to trivializing the content. On the one hand, it's good to be rewarded with an easier mission when you're teaming up with allies, but on the other hand, it can become a problem when you're competing with your teammates to get kills. The Steel Path enemy scaling swings the pendulum in the opposite direction from the regular game mode, where the enemies are sometimes too tanky for a solo player, but just right with one or two other people in the squad. Perhaps having enemy HP scale up with the number of players in the squad could help balance this. So, what do you think about the Steel Path, and what do you think on these subjects here? The last thing I'm going to point out is that there's another forum poster named ShieldB, and he made the forum post on here that I agree with most of his points, and I like seeing that there's somebody that I can agree with, and I'll just post it here. He said, for capture, spy, rescue, sabotage, these are basically identical to normal versions, and I completely agree. So, for example, when you do your capture mission, or you do your spy mission, for example, doing it on the Steel Path doesn't feel very different from the normal mission. You just run past the enemies and finish the mission like you normally would. I'm fine with this, though. This is what I expected, because the developers made it clear that they aren't spending a huge amount of development time retweaking the game to make every single node challenging. This was sort of like a quick fix to satiate their hardcore players. Then he said, solo interception feels really garbage with the increased spawn rate. I disagree. Maybe it's because I cheesed these missions with Korra. Korra Strangledome made all the interception missions easy. If you haven't tried it yet, I recommend it. Try using Korra. Then he said, no changes on rotation-based drops means if I'm looking for something off rotation C, I might as well just run the normal version, or cases where I can do it faster and safer outside of the Steel Path. I agree. If the purpose of your play session is to obtain end-of-mission rewards, you're better off doing the normal mission mode. It's not a big deal to me. However, I think it's pretty evident that what he's probably trying to suggest is maybe they need to improve the end-of-mission rewards, and I think that would be fair. It's not something that I need in the Steel Path to play the Steel Path. I don't need to have that, but it would be a nice to have, and it would certainly incentivize me to continue playing it more if the end-of-mission rewards were better. And I do think that's a fair thing to ask for. Some bosses feel pretty bad with scaling. I agree. For example, the treasurers have way too much shields to take down in 90 seconds. If you can help me figure out how to take those guys down in 90 seconds on the Steel Path, let me know in the comment section below, because I don't know how to kill these guys. Maybe if I try using Revenants and I enthrall them and reave them. I don't even know if they can be enthralled, but if you can enthrall and reave them, maybe then you can take them down. I don't know. But it seems like you're going to have to use some really cheesy strategy to kill those guys. They're not balanced for... It seems like they're... It's really weird. It's like they balance them at level 30 something for the current power level of most Warframes, but it just breaks when you bring them up to level 100 something. Anyway, if I want to get Random Crowns, I'll need to play on normal game mode, and I haven't actually done the new mission. What's it called? The Deadlock Protocol. I've been waiting for my girlfriend to catch up with me, but the problem is that she has to max out her standing in Fortuna before she can access this. And as we all know, that's a grind, maxing out your rep with Fortuna. But anyway, he also said companions feel incredibly squishy. I agree, but I'm fine with this. It seems fair to me considering the Steel Path is supposed to be challenging. I mean, I don't have a super strong opinion on this. I don't mind if they buff the companions to be more survivable, but I also wouldn't care if they left it as it is too. I could take it or leave it. It's fine to me as it is. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys in this video. I hope you liked it. I'm planning on finishing the rest of the star chart at some point. I might rush it overnight or take some time to do it. But yeah, either way, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.